What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
I'm Tom, the OG Fit Kid, the staple of the Turnbuckle Debate.
And our returning guest, two-time guest, George from Straight Talk Wrestling, who's already been popped by Tom.
Yeah, I appreciate the love, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me back, for sure. The first one was definitely enjoyable. I talk about you guys all the time. Every time I do an interview or a guest spot, I'm like, you know what? Turnbuckle Tavern, it brought me in. I brought a topic. I thought I was ready to go. I had all my points in line, and I got schooled. I even say I got, as much as it pains me, I say I got schooled by the OG Fit Kid, because I remember I was like, yeah, you know, Impact and AEW, you know, I don't think Impact's benefited from the deal. Right away, he's like, why? Pay-per-view sales and TV ratings aren't important? I was like, holy shit, all right. They are. They absolutely are. I just felt there was a little bit left in right-handedness. That's why I thought AEW benefited a little bit more in terms of star power being on the other brand. That was my point. But I didn't even get a chance to bring that up. He fucking shut that shit down.
Just think I'm ready for you this time. I wasn't even prepared for last time.
Oh, listen.
Let's see how it goes. I'm not at the end of the day, we all have different opinions. That's a great thing about being wrestling fans. We all have different opinions. We see things differently. And I know you and I are going to butt head, but that's okay. At the end of the day, I'm here for Chad and Sneed. I mean, you're just that. You are the staple. I mean, if you're a tripod, you're that third leg that nobody really cares about. The one at the back of the tripod that nobody pays attention to. That's you.
Oh man, this will be fun. Hey, let's get off the debate.
The back leg tripod of the tavern.
So, George, tell everybody, you know, Straight Talk Wrestling, the mini host. You guys got a lot of stuff going on. Thomas Latimer interview, Sunny Kiss. I mean, you guys have been crushing it. Let everybody know, you know, what's been going on in your world.
Well, the big thing is that wrestling over here in Canada is finally open. Like, the borders are open. And we're getting shows back on a regular basis. I have now branched into commentary. So I'm working with two great promotions, Hamilton Wrestling Entertainment, and I'm working with New Frontier Pro, which is awesome. Both are very different styles. One, I get to play the heel. One, I get to play the face. So I get to bring out my inner Bobby Heenan. And then I have to, bring out my inner JR, because if anybody said I had to bring out my inner Michael Cole, I would not want to do that at all. I don't think anyone should have an inner Michael Cole. Even Michael Cole should not have an inner Michael Cole.
I'll agree with that.
That's a good philosophy.
Yeah, the mini host has been, she's been incredible. She's been killing it. We've been able to sit down with a lot of big names. And like I was telling before we push record, she's no fear. Even though she says she's nervous, she walked right up to Sunny Kiss when we were at Greektown and was like, can I get 5 minutes? She's like, you can time me if you want. It's only going to be 5 minutes. And sure enough, if you look at the interview was like 4 minutes and 33 seconds. She still had like 27 seconds left over, give or take, right?
It's a pro.
So, she absolutely is. And like I was saying before, if you're going to be replaced by anybody, to have your kid star shining the way hers is and how great she's becoming, you see the growth from like the first interview to now. I think she's up to like 80 or 85. Like she doesn't hold back now. The questions are getting deeper. Before it was kind of like a fluff piece. Like, what video games do you play? What food do you like? Now it's like, how do you feel about being on AEW Dark all the time and not being featured on the main product? It's like, damn.
Yeah.
It's like, no holds barred the way she asked the questions. And I couldn't be more prouder. When we started this thing together, it was like, Dad, I want a YouTube page. It's like, okay, I want to be able to monitor you. So let's work you into the podcast somehow. And without her, and her killing it, we wouldn't have just hit over 500 subscribers. We wouldn't have hit that number. And we're still growing, which is great. And credit where credit's due. I mean, I'm okay. She's a superstar. And
That's awesome,
I couldn't be more prouder.
It's a proud dad. You must wonder where she got the talent from.
Well, she definitely doesn't get it from having friends like you. Doesn't get it from having friends like you. That's for sure.
I'm totally here for this staple George feud. I mean, it's ratings, baby.
It's fun to sit back and watch this. Oh man.
Well,
then I think with that,
Yeah, let's just take that
With that
energy
being
and lead
said,
right
go.
into the debate.
I think it's ready.
Hold
for
on,
the-
wait a minute. If we're gonna do it, I got to get really intense.
Let's
dance.
Let's do it. All right. First topic of the evening. Is it time for Finn Balor to step away from WWE?
Yes, I've just recently went down to the NJPW Prince Devitt thing and seeing what he did there and seeing even what he did in NXT a bit. Like, they just don't use what this guy could do properly. He could bring so much, and it's like they're not using him at all on the main roster like they should. I'd love to see him get a run anywhere else other than WWE where he could be used properly.
Yeah, like I'm kind of there. And this isn't hating on WWE. They're going to do their thing the way they do their thing. But I feel like when people forget that Finn Balor was the first Universal Champion.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
he got that injury, I think, in that match that he won the title in and had to give it up. And then we know how Vince is with stuff like that. If you're not reliable, it's almost like that was the nail in his coffin. As far as, I mean, he's had good matches since then. He went back to NXT, did some great stuff. But I feel like that moment when he got hurt, it immediately put a glass ceiling above him where he was never going to reach that upper echelon. I mean, they don't lean on the demon as much, which I don't have a problem with that because I love when they bring it out at special times. But just selfishly as a fan who sees his potential, one, isn't being reached, and two, he's no spring chicken, man. I want to see him elevated to the point he should be at least for one final run. And maybe that's New Japan, maybe that's AEW, maybe that's Impact. You know, who knows where he could go. But Ring of Honor. I would love to see him show up somewhere and become that true top guy that we know he can be.
Yeah, I definitely. Sorry. Is it your turn or my turn? I'm not sure.
We have no structure.
So I do agree with Chad. OG Fig Kid, yeah, I guess I kind of agree. But the fact is that if he does go, we have to make sure, he has to make sure the alternative is what he wants. We're talking about a final run. We're talking about where he could be elevated. I don't think the brand for him is AEW or Ring of Honor. The only reason I say that is because we know what happens with AEW. I think Tony Khan is like the quick orgasm man. He loves that pop, that, oh my God moment. And then it's like, what do we do? What do we do from here? I feel like the middle of every story or almost every story in AEW, it falters a bit. And then the ending is really good, but let's like, here's the high point. We go for an extreme low, then we go for another high point in the end. And I get it. Sometimes storylines or stories do go like that. There's peaks and valleys, 100%. I just think that if it were to come to him, if he were to leave and if he were to go to AEW, I feel like we would see him on Dark a lot more than we would on the main products like Rampage or Dynamite. And then we'd be in the same position that we're in now. We'd be saying AEW is not using him properly. So what's the alternative? Not Ring of Honor, because Tony Khan just purchased that. I believe the alternative for Finn Balor is to go on a final world tour and end it off in New Japan, where he can really elevate and have some of those amazing matches that he had at the start of his career. In Japan, those matches, Prince Devlin in those matches were second to none. Those are some of my favorite matches of his are from that time period. So I believe that go on an indie world tour, hit all the cities that you haven't hit in a while, finish it off in Japan, and you walk out the sun setting and a great end to a great career. Kind of like an AEW storyline. We had the high points, the middle ground with WWE, and we finish on a high. It's just, I feel that AEW or ROH would be a huge step back for him because we'd be spinning the same wheels we are now and not getting anywhere.
I think it's time for him to leave. I wasn't 100% sure until he lost the title to Austin Theory. Because for me, I don't understand the push that I don't understand what they see in Austin Theory. I don't see it in that guy. And I think I think Finn deserves a lot better. And I think that he should leave. And I don't think ROH would be a bad landing point, either ROH or New Japan. I don't think Ring of Honor or AEW, but I mean, as of right now, we don't really know how Tony's going to run Ring of Honor. I mean, we haven't seen that a whole lot.
Yeah. With Austin Theory, I think we might not see something in him, but the one person that matters sees something in him, and that's Vince. And Vince sees youth, and Vince sees Finn on the back end, but he does have some star power, so he's putting over that young guy. I'm totally with you, George, on I am to the point with AEW where until you start utilizing the roster you have, I'm done wanting new faces popping up. I don't want any more. I don't care how big you are. I don't care if you're Bray fucking Wyatt or whoever. Until you start utilizing your talent, I'm done with it. I don't want any more people, because you're right. I haven't heard it put like that, but we bitch about this on the main podcast all the time about how they come in hot with big pomp and circumstance. They'll bring someone in, everyone freaks out, and then there'll be this couple month lull. And then when a pay-per-view keys up, they'll pump them into a storyline for 3-4 weeks, and then they'll cycle some other story in. And it's like, we're never really truly getting to invest in these people because there's no true week-to-week booking on a lot of these guys. Now, some of these guys we see week to week, but I'm with you on that. I don't want to see AEW. ROH, I would like if I knew a little more about what's going on. Now, if they get a deal with Warner Media, they have a weekly show, they need some big stars, then I'm a little more open to that. But what I would really like to see is Balor returning as Prince Devitt to New Japan. And the beauty of going to New Japan, there's rumors of that super show with AEW. If he picks New Japan as his home base, we could still potentially get some super matches with a Bryan Danielson or a CM Punk in a joint New Japan AEW kind of co-promotion.
Mm-hmm. But the problem with that is, and I think we even talked about this the last time I was here, you have a super show. Who gets put over? Whose stars get put over? Because Tony's ego is not going to let AEW stars falter, and New Japan knows where they stand in this market. When it comes to the best, strongest hitting wrestlers, they've got a lot of them. They've actually got probably all of them. When a New Japan wrestler hits you, you feel it. When you're in the crowd, you feel it. Like when Finn Juice was on Impact, those matches against the Good Brothers were phenomenal. And just because of how great those two guys are, that we were able to kind of see them again on American soil and really get, now, mind you, COVID had a lot to do with it. They couldn't get back over to Japan. So you might as well work while you're here, boys, right? You might as well cut a paycheck. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But certain aspects of things you really got to figure out who's going to check their ego in that boardroom meeting. Because I don't see Tony Khan checking his ego in any point of that show. And I don't see New Japan saying, okay, we'll lose every match. There's no fucking way. No way.
No, Tony and Gato have to, it's almost like you have to go into a super show with those two companies with a 50-50 booking split. Mm-hmm. Like 50% of it's booked by Tony, 50% of it's booked by Gato, but at the same time, they have to be on the same page in the way they book it. And I think they do work a little well together. I don't know if it's New Japan kind of not having the leverage in this partnership because they're wanting to enter the States and they know having a relationship with an AEW is healthy for them. But, you know, we just saw Moxley beat Will Ospreay in a New Japan match. That's huge. But again, is that New Japan kind of bending over for AEW and letting their star take a loss because they want to push into America more? You know, AEW just did that partnership where in Japan, you can get AEW on New Japan. What is their streaming service? New Japan World. It's very interesting. And like you said, anytime there's bookers, there's egos. Who's going to go over? If they did it in the right way, it could be huge, but it's one of those 50-50 things, man. If it's booked correctly, everyone's happy. The fans win. If egos become involved, it could be an absolute shit show.
Yeah, if egos, I mean, we win for sure, but if it comes to egos,
it's got to make sense.
It has to be.
You know what I mean? Like if you have Okada going against Orange Cassidy, Okada, put him over.
Yeah.
But then when you get into, if it's Okada Danielson, then there's going to be a little bit of, okay, who's going over here? This is our top guy against your top guy. Who's going over here? So it does lend itself to some headbutting for sure.
But it could also open up some storyline too, because what if we had return if we had return matches, if there was, storyline that opened up between Okada and Danielson, and it comes, it could open up a lot of doors. I mean,
trilogies. We
yeah.
give you one here. 3 months from now, we give you one. You know, like there's a I scratch your back, you scratch mine mentality.
If it's a one and done thing, then I can see it being an ego issue because who goes over at that. But if you're going to do it and set up matches like for the future, I think that could work.
And I think that's a huge thing. If the rumors are true and they are planning a super show for the summer, the way this is booked is going to be a very, very important sign of how strong this partnership is. Because is this just going to be a one-off? We might not see matches happening the way we would think. But if there's a lot of 50-50 across both rosters, guys getting put over from both promotions, then I think we're going to be like, okay, they're planning to do this more often.
Yep. Anybody have any final thoughts before we move on to our second topic?
He's been awfully quiet.
Excellent points. No, you made excellent points, George. Everybody made excellent points. I thought I wanted to see him in AEW, but with what you guys brought up, like you said, I don't want to see anybody new there right now. You automatically get sent to Rampage for a while, then you kind of disappear.
You pop up on Dark here and there. It's like, dude, let's work with what we got for a while.
Yeah, I want to see how Ring of Honor is going to be worked, though.
That's the big kind of wild card in the whole situation.
It's the biggest question mark on everything for me right now.
Yeah,
is how Ring of Honor is going to be ran.
Well, a lot of this underused talent that's popping up on Dark and not getting those pushes, those valleys and mountaintops like George talked about. You know, a lot of that talent could be absorbed into ROH, and if there is a national television product for ROH, I don't see that as a big demotion, depending on how we can consume the ROH product.
No, it could help a lot if they get their own TV deal, bringing some of those guys over there, because it kind of feels like AEW is at its best 4 weeks leading into a pay-per-view when they start building up for the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It's the in-between times where it hits like the lows and like, okay, we had the MJF and Punk thing for the whole time, and that worked because you were leading up to something, but they've got to figure out what to do after a pay-per-view is over for a couple of months. And, you know, that's where I was hoping Battle of the Belts would be that bridge in between, but they haven't used it properly. Battle of the Belts to me has been a big disappointment.
It has.
I will say, if anybody should be happy with the way that they've been booked, I think it's MJF.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
He has been solid.
They're booking MJF. Yeah, they're booking him that way because, I mean, 2024 is not that far off. Let's be honest. We're already 4 months into 2022. We're talking 18. We're talking 20 months, and he's done. So if they don't keep MJF, who becomes the top heel in AEW?
100%.
They have a lot of options, but they don't have an MJF. They don't have that top heel. Whereas I will say this much about WWE: love him or hate him, they got a lot of options for that top heel. Randy Orton can slide into that spot easily when he turns on Matt Riddle. Yeah, exactly. Becky Lynch is always great for a heel. Even why not give layers? Turn Bianca Belair heel. Let's see how she runs with it as heel. I'm not saying that she would knock it out of the park, but it would be an interesting concept to see. You know, maybe even bring back John Cena, but as the doctor of Thuganomics. Give me the guy that slayed Kevin Federline, man. I was banging Bricky. I still say that line. That line was fucking G when he said that. But I think with ROH, personally, my final thought on this would be one thing AEW needs to evolve is they need that streaming service. Now with buying ROH, they've got that back catalog. They've also got a back catalog of their own right. Why not because a lot of people said, well, what if they were to make Dark an exclusive for the AEW network whenever that comes? Not a good idea. Keep it on YouTube because your YouTube numbers are strong. What I would do is give me the back catalog of Being the Elite. Give me all the ROH catalog, but then give me ROH as a network exclusive, something to entice me to want to pay a monthly fee.
Yep.
A TV deal would be great for ROH, but a network deal where you can watch it anytime, it's not about it. Look what it did for NXT. Before NXT got on TV, the only reason I kept the network was for NXT. Once it got on TV, I fell off it. I really did. When it was on the network, though, I never missed an episode. I always watched it live, not on replay, live.
Yeah, and NXT, that to me, that was when it was on the network solely. That was when it was at its peak.
Yep.
At its best.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we move in our second topic. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right. Second topic of the evening. George, this is the topic you brought to the table. If GCW and WWE work together, is that a good or bad thing? So I will defer to you to start us off.
You know what? This is interesting, right? We're in this interesting time period of wrestling where super shows are being mentioned. The announcement might even come as earlier as tonight as we're recording this on 420. Happy 420, everyone, by the way.
Yes.
You smoking got it. This is the point to light it up at this point in the episode. But the great thing about this stuff is that who's got the best catalog right now when it comes to a back catalog of wrestling? It's the WWE network. Nobody touches them 150%. New Japan's great, but they have their catalog only. WWE has so much. Now, WWE is a company that right now, a lot of people say, oh, they frown on the hardcore stuff. Not really. Let's remember, circa 97, 98, when they were trying to figure things out. They were working with ECW a lot, not only poaching talent, but highlighting their wrestlers on a given basis. I think that's what elevated the Attitude Era so much in their favor, because they were bringing in these fresh faces that hadn't had that national television exposure. When you look at the way things worked out for them, it worked out obviously really great. They won the war, yada, yada, yada. Everyone knows the history. But peeling back the layers now, with GCW finally winning the litigation against IWPTV, that's huge, because now that frees up their catalog. They now own their catalog. They've got it all now. Independent wrestling television can't touch nothing. So what happens at this point? Well, not so much Vince buys GCW, but what if Vince buys the rights to their video catalog? Kind of like an Apple Music type situation. You give us your catalog, we give you a percentage of profits of every month. Does that not only elevate GCW to start getting some big major gains in their profit? Because let's be honest, you can have your pay-per-views on independent wrestling TV, or you can have your whole catalog on WWE Network. Who's going to give you more money? Who's going to give you more of a percentage point? It would be the network, 150%. I'm not saying that Vince is wanting to go that way, but he knows what his fans like. We're past this PG era. We know this. Even the kids who were part of the PG era, they want something edgier. They want something fresher. They want to go back to the Attitude Era, but not all the way. Because let's be honest, you look at the Attitude Era, I don't care what anybody says, there was a lot of greatness. There was also a lot of AEW booking back then. When it came right to a pay-per-view, they would book hard for 2 or 3 weeks. But then as soon as that storyline happened, it's like, okay, what do we do with next? This guy's now a tag team with this guy. As great as the Attitude Era was, there was a lot of disasters in that era. Let's remember, Val Venus got his dick almost chopped off, but it was a salami instead. We all saw those episodes. There's a lot of stuff you look back at the Attitude Era, you're like, it's not as great as I thought it was. When I was a kid, I loved it. But now as an adult, it's not as great. But my point is that if GCW does have a partnership with WWE, not a buyout. If a buyout happens, I don't know what I could say about that point. But a partnership, it's not a bad thing. Also, when you look at what GCW's done for some of their talents that they've let go, they really pushed the elevation of Matt Cardona. Once he had those matches with Nick Gage, a lot of things changed. And now look at him. He's like the belt collector of 2021. Yeah. The guy has more gold than a lot of rappers in the game these days with their grills and all that kind of stuff. But the fact is that a partnership, having their content on the network, it's a win-win for everybody. The new fans now get a little bit of hardcore, which they love, a little bit of edgy, and GCW gets major bank. I think it's a win-win if that's the plan. If a buyout is the plan, I don't like it.
Yeah, I agree. If it's just a partnership, like where they use their stuff on a network, I'd be game for that. But if WWE is going to go in there and start trying to make their stuff more PG, I don't want them to touch it. I don't want them near it. The alternative with GCW building on their own is a beautiful thing. They're quickly growing into the third brand in America behind WWE and AEW. So don't need that being derailed. And it's like I said, I would rather see them just air their stuff on the network than them actually start working with them. Don't buy them. I don't know. Other than the back catalog, I don't know what there is to buy because the only person under contract is Nick Gage. So everybody else is brought in per appearances and everything. So it's interesting to see what will happen with it.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a buyout, it's an indie promotion, like you said. The only person exclusive to GCW is Nick Gage, so it's not like you're getting a roster from a buyout. You're getting the intellectual property, but when this first popped, I mean, obviously we saw the picture of Brett Lauderdale, owner of GCW, with Stephanie McMahon at Mania weekend. She supposedly had them as guests in their suite to, I think it was Brett Lauderdale and several of the talent. But my thing is, this all came out of WWE being interested in Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, which is a show put on by Josh Barnett under the GCW banner. I could see them going after maybe just that property to feature on their streaming service. But as far as them getting the entire back catalog of Game Changer Wrestling, I just don't see them offering that on WWE Network or Peacock, whatever you want to call it now, because when they did that switch from the network to Peacock, they had all these people going over all this past footage with a fine-tooth comb and eliminating all of the racy stuff of the past. You want to talk about racy shit? GCW's commentators are constantly dropping fuck bombs and goddams and every nasty word. They wouldn't be able to show a GCW product without literally having someone go in and cut new commentary and eliminating the old, which would immediately turn the GCW faithful against this new product. I've heard Brett Lauderdale in interviews on Busted Open Radio talk about how they don't even want a TV deal right now. He doesn't ever see this company being on television because he doesn't want to have to kind of kowtow to all the sponsors and not being able to be GCW. He knows that the reason they have such a rabid fan base is they are so outlaw, they are so uncensored, that to me, the WWE GCW partnership is like, it's really wild. Like, I just don't think it fits in any way, shape, or form outside of maybe just the blood sport. I think a little bit of this, I think this picture being leaked onto the internet, the McMahons are smart, man. When you send a picture out like that, that's pretty much them saying, hey, we still have our finger on the pulse of the independent movement. Like, it's them saddling up to the hottest indie in America, in the world, honestly. So I just think it was a little bit of bravado from the McMahons. I don't think this is a true, like, we're going to see them buying GCW or featuring GCW on. I just don't buy it.
What if they were to do something like Disney, like, for example, Disney Plus, they bought Star, right? Star has a lot of adult entertainment. Right. They put passwords on the accounts. So if you have a child account, you can't go anywhere near Star. It's like literally grayed out. You can see it, but you can't touch it. What if there was a possibility of making a more adult portion of the network for parents, like an after hours, after dark thing, if you will? Kids watch the fluffy stuff. They go to bed. Mom and dad get to sit down and watch, Nick Gage stick a light pole up somebody's ass. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, they could do it. I mean, if Disney could do it and get away with it in a way that makes their streaming service family friendly, why can't Peacock do the same?
That's the only way you could do it. You could do some sort of like mature audiences only, have all your ECW stuff on there, put new fresh stuff in GCW. Man, it's just so foreign to me to see those those 6 letters side by side. Ugh.
Even if they did something like that, I don't know if I'd want to see it. Even if they did that, I don't want them involved with GCW at all. I just feel like GCW has such a good thing going right now that if WWE gets a hold of it in any way, and I guess it's how they would get a hold of it, even like with their library, I just think it would water down what they've got going on right now.
How do you think the fan base would react?
Oh, it'd be a revolt. There'd be another company start because of this bullshit.
Oh, I really think like that Atlantic City, New Jersey faithful that show up at the Carousel Room every weekend they're there, they would be like, fuck this shit. Brett Lauderdale sold out. We're done. GCW's dead. There would be a large section of fans that I think reacted.
They'd send his ass out on a rail. they would send him out on a rail for that. I just don't see it happening.
But at the same time, like, here's the thing, like, it's business. Like, if Stephanie McMahon brings the bag to Brett Lauderdale and says, hey, we're going to offer you this, and it's money that this kid has never seen before, it takes a certain individual to to not sell out and take the pride over the money. I mean, I would get it. I wouldn't like it, but hey, man, somebody comes and offers you millions of dollars for this deal. Pride goes out the window. You see the bag.
Well, then at that point, so the question turns to, is it a good or bad thing for him? So yeah, it is a good thing for him.
If he wants to cash out and just be done with wrestling.
If he wants to have his name just erased from GCW, I mean, that's the way to do it.
Well, look at let's pose a question to all those fans. If any of those GCW faithful fans that would have a revolt, if Stephanie McMahon walked up to you and said, I'm going to give you green shirt guy seat for the rest of your life, and I'm going to give you $25-30 million. I'd like to see any of those fans sit there and say, nope, my pride as a wrestling fan stands true. Bull fucking shit. You'd say, where do I sign? Where do I draw blood? How do I sell myself to the devil? Fuck, OG Fee Kid would probably trade that seat for a fucking toupee.
It would take less than that, George. It would take less than that. It was a good one, I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's great.
That's a sound bite, right?
That's a sound bite. We got to.
We're playing that always. That might go in the opening.
Compliments of Straight Talk Wrestling. You can find me all the time on YouTube.
Listen, the thing that really has me wondering is, what is the WWE have? What are they planning for the future? Because now we hear them using the word wrestler again and belt again, and we see him showing up. I feel like they're trying to make changes to appease to the wrestling audience again. And I just hope that's what it's leading to. I mean, I know we've had the wool pulled over our eyes so many times before with this, but I mean,
2 years ago, they said, we're going to listen to you.
Yeah.
And then literally a week later, no, fuck off. We're not listening to you. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, Tom, like, here's the thing with that. Like, I know I hear people say, oh, they're saying belt now. They're saying pro wrestler now. They aren't saying shit. Cody Rhodes is saying those things.
But is this leading to a bigger and better story? Who knows?
I think that's just part of his character. The outsider saying the words you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Now, if everybody on the roster starts saying that, then I'll be like, okay, there's change happening. But I think that's just part of, people know where he was. He's coming in. He's saying the things that regular guys on the roster can't say. I think that's kind of the fun of Cody being back in that company.
And if that's all it is, it'll wear out really fast. But for now, it's fun. And just to see if it leads to anything or if it's just another drop in a bucket.
If Brett Lauderdale wants to keep the integrity of what GCW is, all he has to do is look at how ECW was handled when they bought that.
Yep.
100%.
The only thing
Don't talk about the razor blade. Don't talk about the razor blade. Of 2000. No, let's not do it. I don't want to talk about that. Right. It's like Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. Okay, we don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah, I mean, WWE was secretly financing ECW for years before the fans knew about it. But man, when they revived ECW in the mid 2000s, look how that went. Whew.
They should have left it at the one night stand and let it be done.
Yep.
I agree.
I think it's a bad thing. I just think it's bad. I don't want it.
I don't.
But if the toupee situation with Tom comes up, I would take the millions of dollars too. I would take
a hair plug, so at least it grows on its own. It's only $10,000. Trust me, I've looked into it.
All right.
Hey, I'll tell you what my brother did to me one time. He sent me Bosley hair stuff in the mail. And I had no idea who sent it. They call me at least once a week still. Can't get him to quit.
That's the soundbite right there. That's a fuck. You are now inducted into the Podcasters fucking Hall of Fame, my dude.
Hey, listen, maybe we could get Bosley on as a sponsor. All they have to do is give me hair again. Sponsor for life.
Hey, look, man, if I wanted to grow a skullet, my skullet would be great. It's right here that just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Here, luscious. All right. Are we ready for our final topic of the evening?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Final topic of the evening. Should Tom get... No, never mind.
Yes. Sorry.
If you're Vince McMahon, do you cut or do you push Ronda Rousey?
Oh, man, this question made me think. It's if she didn't come out there every week with that fake smile and she was actually into what she was doing, she could be such an asset to this company. But she looks so forced being out there. She doesn't look like she wants to be out there. But I assume she's still bringing in money for the company. But at this point, if you don't want to be there, I don't want you there. If you're working for my company, but again, if it's making you money, it's like a double-edged sword. Which way do you go? If she's making you money, you want her there. But if she's not happy being in there and she doesn't look thrilled to be in there at all. She doesn't. My wife says she hates seeing her on TV with that phony smile every time she comes on TV. She's like, you could tell that smile is totally put on. So, I mean, at this point, I thought she could be great, and she seemed like she was into it at first, but now I think it's time to move on.
So you're saying cut?
I say cut.
If people are MMA fans and you remember how the rise of Rousey happened and the fall of Rousey happened, I was diehard UFC, Bellator, watched everything. In the beginning, she was beloved. When people loved her, and she was a rocket ship, man. She built the UFC, started their women's division because of Ronda Rousey. And it got to a point, though, the feud with her and Miesha Tate, she started to sour. She started to show a side of her that people didn't, kind of an unsportsmanlike side. So there was a little bit of dissension, but you still had those hardcore Rousey fans. When she suffered the 2 knockouts, she turned on the entire fan base. She turned on the MMA journalists who gave her a microphone to speak her truth in the rise. And in the fall, she shut everyone out. And this is just kind of par for the course. And I think it's the same way with her wrestling thing. She came in happy to be there. She is a natural heel. She is a natural heel. And I don't know if this is her or them, but they're pushing her as this baby face. She's never been good on the mic. She's awful on the mic. I don't buy anything she says. And like you said, Tom, since she's came back, she is collecting a paycheck, man. There's no passion.
She's dialing it in.
And when you have no passion, you're not going to improve because you don't care. And I pause short of saying cut her because she is Ronda Rousey. I mean, I just said that UFC created the women's division because of her. There's a lot to be said that all women's pay-per-view WWE put on. What was it? Evolution?
Evolution, yeah.
Yeah. When they did that probably wouldn't have happened without Rousey. You know, would women have main evented Mania without Rousey? So her star power definitely put the rocket ship on the give divas a chance movement and really pushed them into a more respected area with the overall casual fan base. But man, dude, I think her right now, she is changed the channel to me. She is awful on the mic. Her matches aren't so significantly great that I'm going to let that slide. And I think when you stick her in programs, there's a piece of me that's like, people like her who are quote unquote, I don't know if she's a part-timer, but someone who isn't all in like that, all you're doing is taking up real estate from a potential star who is hungry to be the best. And for that reason alone, I would cut her because I don't think she's in it for the long haul. So give her time to someone who loves pro wrestling.
I agree with some of your points. Actually, I agree with most of your points. You're right. She's a natural heel. I think the problem with Rousey is, like you said, the forced booking. Natural heel, but they're making her a face. They're making her a face because they want all these younger fans to get hooked in, all these little girls to be chasing the dream like the Baileys, like the Sashas, so they can have that next generation of next generations. But I've said this for a while. They teased the 4 horsewomen of wrestling versus the 4 horsewomen of MMA. They teased it on WWE.com for so long, and it never happened. What if Rousey did go away? You don't cut her, you put her on the shelf. She's still a new mom. You can tell that she literally just wants to get home to her baby, and there's nothing wrong with that. Let her enjoy time with the family. Build it. Right now, Bailey is set to be coming back at some point. Sasha, she's kind of up in the air with her bookings. And a lot of times on Twitter, she's super weird. She keeps tweeting Vince McMahon, saying Vince McMahon, Vince McMahon. And the tweets don't make any sense. The other day, it was like a cat on a fire hydrant. What's happening? I don't get it. I don't understand it. But Charlotte Flair is there. Becky is there. The backstage heat that Charlotte and Becky have, is it real? Is it fake? Who really knows in this business? You never really know what's heat anymore because everything's manufactured. But somehow build it where we get that culmination. A Survivor Series type match at WrestleMania would put butts in the seats, would put eyes on the pay-per-view product. That would, I guarantee you, that would be the highest rated WrestleMania of all time. That would be the one that sells the fucking place out. And that would be the one where night 2 outdoes night 1. Because let's be honest, the last 2 times they've done this night 2, night 1 has won both nights.
Yeah.
Night 2 has been subpar, but night 1 has been stellar. And it's great because it's on a Saturday. So you're like, fuck, I want to go to bed and wake up tomorrow. And then it's like 11 o'clock on fucking Sunday. You're like, fuck, I got to get up for work in like 4 hours and this shit's still fucking going. But Saturday, you're like, woohoo, I can stay the fuck up all night. So do it on a night 2, make it proper, book her right, let her be freer. And by God's sake, somebody get her a fucking tailor so the poor girl doesn't have to keep pulling those shorts down. Even now, she's been away. She came back at WrestleMania. She's still yanking those shorts down. Somebody get her something that fits, please.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing, she came back very bitter towards the fans that they turned on her the first time. She didn't want to come back as a face. So they're forcing her to be a fan favorite right now.
They're telling Ronda Rousey, one of the notes Vince gave her was smile more. Rousey doesn't smile. She scowls. That's what she's good at. She's a killer. Let her be a fucking killer, man.
Why are they so scared to lean into a shitbag heel? Why can't we have somebody that is just a ruthless, mean ass heel? Why can't we have that?
Because we can't have it until 2024, until MJF signs on the WWE dotted line. That's when we can have it.
I hope.
He's not signing on that line.
No, I know he's not, but if they're saving it for something, they're teasing to the point where they think the fans will get hooked into this. Because whether you're talking about AEW or WWE or you're bitching about AEW or WWE, what are you doing? You're still talking about it. It's still the subject of conversation. You're still tuning into Raw, even though you know it's going to be a shit show. You're still buying hair care products, even though you know your hair's not going to grow. OG Thick. So the fact is,
I just got a new vitamin. Don't ruin it for me.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. The fact is, though, is that we're still talking about it. That's what wrestling fans do best. We talk a lot about our theories and our conspiracies, but the biggest swerve sometimes when you least expect it. I mean, fuck, Cody broke the throne 2 years ago. And then they got a picture of him fucking hugging Triple H like they're best friends. Are you fucking kidding me? There was definite heat there at one point.
It's his favorite wrestler. What are you talking about?
But money changes perception. And if you're MJF, if you're the best in the game, and Vince, same thing like we talked about Lauderdale. If you're offered a bag of money, you telling me MJF won't consider signing on the dotted line, whether or not his fans would give a fuck because he plays kayfabe to 150% every time?
I think he's going to entertain it. I think it's going to come down to booking and money. And
he's going to have one of those Cody contracts with a lot of fine detail in there if he does jump to WWE.
I do think I think a very, very interesting piece to that puzzle, though, is his one of his head trainers just left that company and is now booking for AEW, Pat Buck. He booked the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match at this past Mania, and then the next day pieced out on the company and signed with AEW that same week.
His allegiance lies with Creative Pro.
Yeah, he is a cap guy. I mean, he
has a creative. His shin is a Creative Pro tattoo. So,
and he's brought in MJ. Tony Khan has went as far to say that MJF is his Bret Hart in the respect of how Bret Hart was to Vince McMahon, bringing in guys from the Hart Dungeon. And he said, MJF has been that for me because he's brought in the Chris Statlanders, the Max Casters, the Bear Countries. There's more. I mean, more and more guys from Cap are coming to AEW. So if they lose out on MJF to WWE, they're losing a lot more than just MJF.
And maybe that's where GCW comes into play, because if they let GCW kind of do their thing, but on an adult restricted portion of the network, they could bring those names as well. And then a person like Chris Statlander, who wouldn't thrive on a Raw or SmackDown, kill in GCW though.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, and you talked about how all of this stuff is just, we talk about it. The hardcores talk about it. But back to Rousey, you know, and this kind of goes against my saying of cut her. The hardcores bitch about her. We bitch about her. So, you know, hardcores like her too, but there is a vocal, you know, she doesn't seem like her heart's in it. Her promos suck. But the casuals, they're not dissecting every little thing, man. They just see Ronda Rousey on their TV screen and they're like, I know who she is. I like her. I'm watching.
As soon as that music hits, the pop happens.
Exactly. So, you know,
Absolutely.
so
and the
you
casuals
can't
are who fills the arena. The casuals fill the arena, not the
Absolutely.
hardcore. So I would say, sorry, to give my decision now, because I steamrolled off there. I apologize for that. To give my decision now, I'd keep her, but I'd rebrand and rebook. I don't know if that's an option, but I keep her and rebrand and rebook.
I keep her and push her as a heel.
Roddy Piper's jacket. He was the ultimate heel of the 80s. Why is she not allowed? To me, she needs to be repackaged and rebooked. Sorry, I cut you off. My apologies.
No, that's all I was going to say is that, I mean, they, you know, I say keep her, push her as a heel if they're going to push her as a heel, but if they're not, and she's going to get that just bad go away heat, cut her.
Make her a badass heel. Make her freaking go out and destroy people. You know, don't even let her talk at all.
Sit her down in the locker room and be like, hey, is your heart in this? And if she wants to do it, put Paul Heyman with her, make her a killer, a badass heel with Paul Heyman as her voice, and off to the races.
Yeah. And then she can cut babyface promos at house shows.
Hey, listen, she loves house shows.
Promos, we wouldn't have Cowboy Brock Lesnar, okay?
I love those.
Hey, give me a babyface promo. I love the babyface Cowboy Brock Lesnar promos, but don't give me a mean killer heel and then have him cut a promo at a house show and tell people not to post it online.
Roman.
Yep. Roman cuts a babyface promo at a house show and tells nobody to post it online, and everybody goes and posts it. Takes every bit of credibility away from it.
Now, was he actually cutting kayfabe? Like, was he being a face, or was he just breaking kayfabe and being a real person? Because to me, that's two separate things.
I mean,
to me, that's the same thing. To me, that's so.
If you're in the ring cutting a promo, you're a babyface,
even if you're being just your genuine self. I know this is like the old man on yelling at the clouds right now, but that's another example of social media killing kayfabe. The old school kayfabe. I do think there's this new version of kayfabe, but what we all know, I can't stand seeing Becky Lynch cut this mean promo on Raw, and then 2 days later on her social media, she's talking about, you know, she's hugging a little kid. It's like, I get it. I know that's the way of the world now, but man, I want to buy in, and stuff like that keeps me from totally buying in.
I didn't see this promo you're talking about, Steve. I'm gonna have to look for it.
Yeah, it's out there. Well, they told him not to do it online, but they posted it online.
How did he not listen to their tribal chief? God damn it.
And he asked him not to, nicely, as a babyface.
So wrap it up and then do a round robin of it.
Yeah. I think and if anybody has any final thoughts to throw on that topic right now, or then we'll hit the round robin.
Yeah.
All right. Round robin it is. Let's go.
So just what you said, if a baby face or if a heel or a baby face, I guess, but it would be more towards
if a heel comes out and cuts. Yeah.
If a heel cuts a promo that makes it onto social media, just a quick little, not a debate, just a quick little opinion. Is it bad for wrestling if heels cut promos out of character and it makes it onto social media?
It's terrible. It sucks.
It kills kayfabe. Could you imagine MJF doing that?
Exactly.
No, MJF does it to one person at a pizza place. So
exactly.
Hey, those Glee Club, the dude got pipes though. I'm not even gonna lie. I would not mind an MJF album. I would not mind an MJF. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. Could you imagine like MJF sings Christmas songs?
It would be Hanukkah songs.
Oh yes, I apologize. You're right. It would be Hanukkah.
his barbershop quartet.
There's only like 4 or 5 Hanukkah songs that at least I'm aware of. I mean, there might be like old school like stuff, but
The
I don't
Adam
know.
Sandler Hanukkah song. I know that one.
That's one of the 4 that I know. I think there's another one. You know what? Forget it. I only know one. I know one. That's it. One.
There's 3
I
versions
would,
of the Adam Sandler one, so you're correct. You're technically correct.
There you go. I would say, you know what, the old like 20 years ago, I would say, yeah, you're fucking killing it for all the fans that want to buy in. Now we just have to remember it's a TV show like everything else.
Yeah.
We have to remember that it is unfortunately still entertainment. As much as it sucks to say it, it pains me to say it. You can see it in my eyes. It sucks. But I would say that I agree with Sneed. It does suck, but in the way, this is the way of the world now. I mean, like, you know, like Mandalorian says, this is the way. It is the way. Straight up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it sucks. It's bullshit. I hate it. But the only people that are saying that are super nerds like us. Everyone else is just like, whatever. This just is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I guess my old school self is just I'm just old man, get off my lawn mad about it, I guess.
You're Clint Eastwood from Gran Torino.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it fired me up when I saw that article. I got shoot mad about it. So all right. George, tell everybody where they can find you guys.
It's really simple. At _ Straight Talk on Twitter and Straight Talk Wrestling everywhere else. On TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and Straight Talk Wrestling on all the podcast platforms. If you do want to watch the mini host, who is the star of the show, you can only find her exclusively on the YouTube page. And we want to give a big shout out and thank you to everyone that subscribed, because we are now at 508 subscribers and we're growing. The numbers are going up there. And finally, the hard work and hustle is starting to pay off. So we appreciate all the love, and we appreciate you guys for having me back on. I appreciate it. Even you.
Yeah, guys.
Who am I talking to on Instagram? It's not OG, is it?
It's me.
Okay, thank God. Because if it was him, I was gonna be like, he kayfabes the shit out of me on Instagram. So nice and polite. It's not. I was like, it can't be him. It's got to be Chatter Sneed. It can't be fucking. Can't be. Can't be.
Yeah, guys, go follow Straight Talk Wrestling. Great stuff. Subscribe on their YouTube. Go to their Instagram. Show some love. Follow, subs, comment. Click that bell on their YouTube so you know when they post some new stuff. But George, as always, man, we love having you on. Last time was a blast. We knew we had to have you back on, and we'll probably have you on a third time if you'll have us.
Absolutely, man. I love coming here. The Turnbuckle Tavern, Circle of Debate, League of Extraordinary Podcasters, all that stuff is great. I'm always honored to be a guest. And I mean, I want to have the 3 of you on too, but at the same time, I know OG is going to be super jealous if I don't invite him. Like, they'll be like, oh, there's real heat. There's not real heat. There's not, I have to have all of you on individually so that I could just have like a staring contest with OG. All right, go.
I was going to invite
like 3 times.
Beat him.
It's over. All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up for this edition of the Turnbuckle Debate. Make sure you guys are following the turnbuckletavern.com for all your tavern needs. Tom, you got a couple seconds to go.
The Turnbuckle Sessions every Friday. Me and Mike Belcaster, the OG Fit Kid, on Twitter and Instagram.
All right. That'll wrap us up, and court is dismissed.